And when I call you, I just kind of like step back and trust that you can come into this space and maximize the room, the view. So can you tell me a little bit about...
Yeah. I mean, staging a house that has fantastic views seems counterintuitive because you want the views to sell the house, and the more you stage it, the more the staging is going to get in the way, and the less the views are going to be important. And so we always talk about staging in terms of being a backup dancer. So the house is Tina Turner, and you need to be good, but you can't be better than Tina. And in this case, we even have a more senior scene. So in this one, like, the house is the opening act, and the view is the main show, and we're a backup dancer in the opening act. So we really have to be quiet. Mm-hmm. You have to show scale, so how big the room is, use, what is this room used for, and then provide light. So those are the three things we're supposed to do in home staging. And in this instance, we have to stay the hell out of the way. And so even if you look at this room right now, we've got a couch on this side of the room, we have two chairs over here. It's not necessarily how you would live in this space, but as you walk in the front door, the first thing you see is, boom, views.
Yes.
If we were to put a couch facing this way back, or even a couch facing towards the views, which is how you might live here, because you want to sit in the couch to be able to see those views.
Right.
It would completely block that initial gut-wrenching emotional pull that says, buy this house because these views are so stellar.
Got it.
So in every single space that we're staging this house, we are trying to stay the hell out of the way of the house, while also showing what the scale of the room is, what the use of the room is, and how much light it has. So that's our biggest concern here.
Perfect. So can you tell me how you choose the items for the different spaces to make it work?
So when we're putting together a house, we are not necessarily thinking about the sellers. And so let's say that the sellers of this house are 75 years old. They bought this house 30 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And so when they bought this house, they were 40, 45 years old.
Right.
And we generally find that the next buyer is going to be the same demographic as the seller is when they bought the house.
Oh, that's great.
And so we really are thinking about that demographic. So when we're designing this, we're not designing it for the seller. The seller's 75 years old, and maybe they love nautical theme, or they love arts and crafts, and that would have been great if you're 75 years old.
Right.
But their children, they're going to buy this house, and the thing that they hate the most is their mother's taste.
Right.
So we have
That's
to
a
make
great
sure
one. Yeah.
that we don't pick out anything that looks like their mother's taste. So we're designing very specifically for probably a straight couple with older kids that are around 45 years old. So we're picking out items with their eyes all the time, which is really interesting to try to teach a 23-year-old designer how to design for a 45-year-old. They're like, what do you mean they don't like that? I'm like, no, that's for a 23-year-old. Like, let's think a little older for that. So that's how we're going to select for this house.
Thank you for coming today, Justin. It's such a treat to have you come into a space that you've staged. And I always love seeing you because we always have a good time. I also want people to know where to go to find you.
Yeah.
So can you tell me, like, your...
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us out. It is an honor to be a part of your team.
Oh.
You can find us, if you're interested, at spade-archer.com. Instant pricing, guaranteed home staging, touchless projects.
Yeah. And awesome people.